Comic books and books this week. Reading comics is kind of like being a historian for a universe that doesn't exist. You have to remember 80 years of retcons, reboots, and alternate timelines just to fully understand why Wolverine is pissed off at Cyclops this week. Let's get into the news. Hello, nerds. Welcome to the Clips channel. This is a clip, as if the channel name was not specific enough. This clip specifically comes from a show that I do over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom. We are going to be talking about comic books and books very specifically in this clip. So news from the last week that has to do with everything comic books and books. Generally more on the comic book side because the books side of things is kind of a little bit more slow going when it comes to nerdy content, but we do still cover it. So that being said, I appreciate you joining me. Let's get into the news. Follow-ups and corrections for comic books and books. We got a little bit of a taste of the upcoming Deadpool and Batman crossover book, and something that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I don't know what your expectations were. We got a logo, which isn't exactly what it sounds like. It is the amalgamation of Wolverine and Lobo into what is Logan and Lobo mixed into one thing, and it's gloriously unhinged. Like I said, this weird amalgamation is kind of a nerd's wet dream. Now though, what I really want to see is a Logo Dark Claw crossover, so where you at, you cowards? Trailers this week for comic books and books don't exist, so we're moving on. Alright, so you know how there are music fans, but then there are music nerds? You know, the kind of people who can not only appreciate the musicality of something from, say, Andrew Lloyd Webber, but also the brutality of something like Cannibal Corpse. Do you believe that the Phantom of the Opera was maybe the first goth rock icon? Then I honestly have a perfect shirt for you, because it's the Phantom Music Nerd. It is the Phantom Nerd shirt, if you will. It is the Phantom of the Opera with text proclaiming your nerdiness for music in a font that would honestly make your grandma cry. It is it is a badge of honor, honestly. It is kind of a way to stay silent and judge everyone else's musical taste in the room. So go check out the link down below, or you can just do generally-nerdy.creator-spring.com and get yours today. It is kind of the ultimate way to just let everybody know that you are in an eclectic class unto yourself. And that puts us into regular S news for comic books and books. Again, our big one this week is a little bit dark, I guess, because nothing is sacred and no one is allowed to rest in peace. LA Comic-Con has announced that they will feature an AI version of Stan Lee. Let's really just call this exactly what it is, won't we? Digital necromancy. It is ghoulish and disrespectful. It is absolutely just a cash grab by people who see this beloved icon not as a person who lived and died, but as an IP that is to be exploited indefinitely. Unsurprisingly, Disney is leading the charge on this brand of corporate vampirism. But they're not alone. Obviously, other people had to sign off on this. Honestly, this is not honoring his legacy. This is wearing his skin as some sort of weird costume to sell tickets. Stan Lee gave us decades and decades of great characters and stories and art. Let the man rest in peace. He has definitely earned his rest. This is gross. This is unethical. It is frankly just plain creepy, honestly. So Excelsior, not like this. And then yes, we are actually going to a cool piece of good news this time. The new Batman #1 has sold over 500,000 copies and is already going into its second printing. Turns out people like buying comics with a character they know and recognize. Weird. And our final piece of news here in the comic books and books has to do with Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty comic book seems to be coming to an end. At least that's the title of the next run. It will be starting December 3rd once the current run of Rick and Morty versus the Universe ends as of October 22nd. So maybe about a month of a lapse there. And then that brings us right into our suggestion for the week. If you are sick of endless reboots and everything basically that the big two are doing right now, then pick up Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. It is a sprawling space opera fantasy epic about two soldiers from opposing alien races who fall in love and have a child. That's kind of what you do when you fall in love, I think. It is honestly very imaginative, very heartfelt, and brutally violent. It's basically everything you're looking for out of a good comic book, so that's your suggestion for the week. Oh good, you found the lore drop. Nice! This clip is honestly just a smaller piece of a much bigger, uglier picture. So do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and you'll get all of the bite-sized intel. But the main quest line, the full unadulterated narrative, that's over on the main channel, Generally Nerdy. So if you're sick and tired of farming just a bunch of side quests, then go check out the main story over there. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, probably here.